So guys, welcome to my first show. I'm so excited to be here on the main channel. What a privilege for me. You know, those of you who have seen me before, maybe on Sheldon's show, you've seen my charts, you've seen me on the live stream that I do with the school students. And they gave me an opportunity to come and show you my charts and show you my work. So very excited to be here. And I've got some special guests that we're going to be trading some, hopefully some longs. We got a couple of shorts. We're looking at one of our guests is bringing, I think he's bringing a sand short to the party. So let's see who's coming. We got Sam Price, 𝗪𝗏𝗍. Welcome, bro. Thank you so much for waking up so early and coming to join us.
No, I love waking up usually 6:37. How you been, man? God bless you, brother. So nice to meet you, man. You just want to let everyone know this guy's one of the nicest people you ever meet. Bumped into him in Miami. Just you get this warm sense and a really good, you just feel like a great guy, man. Super awesome to be here. I really appreciate it.
It was great meeting you there at Garrett's place. And those of you that think we just party in Miami, well, we were actually networking and making good friends and meeting some great people. So yeah, so happy to have you here. And what an honor to have you on my first show. So thanks for being here.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I've also got another guest, a previous ByBit competition winner. Some of you might recognize Dave. Welcome.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Dave is, you know, he's one of the best traders in the world. He won one of the ByBit tournaments. He won a Tesla. He did a banter trading contest, and he's obviously got some hidden secrets and things up his sleeve. But I know, you know, some of his secrets, he used some of the banter stuff. So he's going to tell us about that a bit later. But right now, I want to fire things off with this Bitcoin situation. I mean, how are we dealing with this? We had this massive dump on Thursday night. Everyone was panicking. We lost massive levels. I thought it was an iron wall. I put a big bet on the 200-week MA, the 200-day, the 618, the trend. I said, this is holding. And I took an isolated long there. I got absolutely smashed. Then it dropped down, and I caught that low on ByBit, luckily. And that was my big fish, and it got me back in the game. But now we're sitting mid-range, and people are itching. They don't know, are we going to be long? Are we going to be short now? Are we retesting these lows? So I wanted to pull up this chart quickly and show you sort of where we are and what I'm looking at. Look, firstly, after that, I'm sitting at number 21, thankfully, on the ByBit tournament. Got absolutely smashed, but I caught that big fish on the way up, so we're back in the game. And then this morning, I caught that rune long, which we're going to talk about just now. But for me, I'm watching this Bitcoin situation, and you know, my big zone, guys, was this area here, this 200-week MA. How did it break through like that? Sam, are you surprised?
Honestly, it's weird. I wasn't. If you watch my channel, I'm super about support of resistance. I want to say I should have been surprised, but it was weird that I wasn't. Fun. I never use hold on, let me turn this off. It's like I've never used that. Like I had that from years ago, and this morning I was like, I just wanted to see. I was like, how did that look? Did it see the same thing I saw? I'm a support and resistance guy, and there was certain key levels that made sense. So Bitcoin was like, basically this is what happened. I'm just gonna redraw what I saw real quick. Give me 2 seconds. I can fire this off. So Bitcoin was in a falling wedge, and I wanted it to break out. And I'll take off my moving averages for a second. So this is, if you run my trading group, I call it short. And
are we gonna pull up your chart here quickly?
It should be up already. They just have to.
Okay, give me a sec.
They might just have to pick it. Yeah.
Okay, there it is.
So I've had this falling wedge, and I was cool with the fact that we broke out of the wedge, right? And I kept saying to everyone, we break back inside this wedge, we go to the bottom of it immediately. So I told everyone immediately, if you see us break back inside this white line, we're going down to the bottom of the pattern. So I already had a short idea covered there if we went back inside. So already I was like, you know. But I was still, you know, I had the idea that this could be a cup and handle. On your guys' show recently, I was bullish. But I also had a contingency. Like I said,
you did call a move for us. We actually longed that move of yours. It was a short-term move. So thanks for that. I think we did okay out of that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. It went up after I remember that. I was like, my call went up after banter. I was like, it's really nice when you go on a show and your move actually plays out. Like, right? But, you know, it doesn't happen like that every day. You know, it makes you look like a great trader. But so the idea was this, 29,500 was key, right? And so I was playing literally the 1 hour, watching it closely. And we lost this. And if you watch my channel, I'm like very basic. Like this morning, and I'll give you kind of my update this morning. It looks similar to this. So we lost 29.5, right? Couldn't get above. We broke back up, came back down, and it looked like a shoulder, head, and a shoulder. It almost had like a complex head and shoulder vibe, right? And then I saw my golden egg descending triangles, man. They break down 90% of the time. Like, by the book, they say 50-50. Dude, I see these break down like 95% of the time, and they break down nice. So I called the short there that fall, right? We started to drop. Then I said, hey, if we can't get back above 29,250, remain bearish. It was so simple to me. So like, I was like, remain bearish here. Now I saw the divergence. It didn't play out. I was like, man, I don't care how much divergence you have. Divergence is great, but support and resistance, trumps it. So if you can't, so basically once we lost 29,250, I said, keep short. Then I said, man, there's no reason to go long if you can't break 29,250. Like, I just don't see the point, right? That fell down. And then that night before I went to bed, I went to the 15-minute and I saw this as a bear flag. And I said, that's a bear flag. You know what I mean? It was simple to me. I was like, yo, that's a bear flag. I said, and price action likes to kiss the 21 before it dumps. So that night I said, listen, draw a bear flag on the 15. I said, if you come and touch the 21 in the middle of the night and you're still in a flag and you can't get above this resistance here, this little notch, I said, continue to stay in the short, right? It dumped again. Then I saw this as another descending triangle. And I put a short out to my trading group. I believe it was, I have a weekly screen share. During the weekly screen share, every Thursday night from about 8 to 9:30, I saw this descending triangle on the 7-minute and I called the short. That short's in the money still. And then I saw this other descending triangle we called another short, which is still in the money. So I see no reason not to be short unless we can get above like now. So that's what I keep looking at key levels. So now I'm like, all right, if you can't, so the beauty of my strategy is I look at the long term and I make long-term assumptions, but I don't make any moves until the 7 or the 15-minute confirmed support and resistance. Like, and I just keep going. I'm obsessive with the 7 and the 15, and then to the 1 hour, and then
I want to hear more about that. But I see you've got you've got a short setup. So you potentially looking for a move up here that you're going to short lower. Is that what I'm looking at?
Well, so now I'm a stochastics RSI guy. Like, I stick to them heavily. They're not always right, but I found if I trade them more than anything else, I tend to be more accurate. So whenever these stochastics get high, I'm weary of a dump. So the 1 hour is overbought, period. And like, it's been overbought and it's making lower lows. To me, it's almost like an M, even though it's a slanted M, right? And you could say there was a good divergence. Why can't we bounce? That's a falling wedge. We should break on out. And I'll agree with that somewhat. And as the 1 hour starts, as the 21 SMA, the simple starts to pull away from the 200, you're going to get stretched and eventually you'll get pulled back. But so for me, it's about support or resistance. So like now I have a new resistance. Like, so this morning I woke up and we were at 25. We were at 29 and I drew this little resistance and I said, there's no reason to long if you can't get back above 26,000. Like, why would you long if you can't get back above 26K? We broke above 26K and we retest or something. I think about a long. So again, I went back to the 7. I put it in the symmetrical triangle, right? And symmetrical triangles mostly break to the downside. They're 50-50 patterns. The only thing we have going right now is you have a complex inverted. You have shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder. And price action likes to pump up to the 200 SMA. So I could see a quick little squeeze up. And I also use Bookmap. I'm huge on Bookmap. And like another thing on Bookmap, they had if you woke up and watched my channel, not only did I show you that we couldn't lose those levels, Bookmap had a huge yellow order down. Like all the order was down here. And so how I trade Bookmap is I do look for liquidation and liquidity. This gives me liquidations. But when I see more liquidity down here than up here, I'm telling you, 80% of the time we go and eat the lower liquidity. It's that simple. Like, so if you just literally just long the bigger areas, you're not going to be right every time, but you're going to be right like 80% of the time. So, and I show this all, and it's so funny because on my channel, we'll see the big bubble of liquidity. I'll say I would not long that. And then we'll watch everyone get liquidated on my channel all the time. Like, we watch shorts get liquidated. We watch longs get liquidated. And because Bookmap just shows you where the orders are. Like, and if there's a huge whale below you,
we'll definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Look, I agree. Those of you that sit on the live sessions with me or watch the charts that we do on the Discord, I love these big and like heavy reaction zones, and I put a lot of emphasis on those. And sometimes you have to really wait, because I find scalping, even 15-minute candles, 5-minute candles, you can get chopped up so easily. And, you know, you come back a few hours later and the token's exactly where it was before, but you've been stopped out twice. it gets absolutely messy. So, I put a lot of focus on these big areas. So when we saw in that BTC pullback, which we're going to go through some alts now, hopefully, we pinged. Do you use FIB, Sam? We pinged a lot of 618s, 786s. Yeah. I love a FIB. When the FIBs tie in with those horizontals, I get so excited, especially on a bigger time frame. So, we spend a lot of time highlighting those, and I just wanted to give you guys a few examples of what we see. But just in closing on this BTC situation, I see Scott Melk is also talking about a very oversold RSI on the 4 hour. I was talking on Twitter the other day about a heavily oversold daily RSI. And I just wanted to show you guys this chart one more time, just as a discussion point here. The last time the RSI was this oversold, BTC
was
pumped.
June of 2022 or something. Someone was saying, right?
But the average move, and I've highlighted in yellow here, was 40%, 60%, 57%. So here we are sitting down here in a similar situation with a heavily sold daily RSI, which I've got my eyes on. And I'm not saying it's straight up from here, but if we take this as an example, just get my brush. If we take this one as an example, see, we had this massive dump. We had the push up, and then they came and they just tested just under that low, and then they started sending us. So I'm looking at something similar here as the real entry. So right now we're scalping, and we just we're moving around these small time frames. I'm looking for this move lower. Dave, I don't know what you're thinking about that. I know you love an SFP. Dave loves it when we just lose a low. So
got sound like ICT
what are you
guys. Got something like ICT people.
Yeah, I'm looking for a swing failure for sure. But I do feel like we're going to see a move to the upside, maybe back to that monthly level that we initially talked about at 27.2 area, and then sending it back down to take out the lows again.
Okay, so you're a fan of a push up, then we coming down. Is that what you're saying?
I personally think like that, or thinking like that, because everyone's bearish now, right? Everyone's, I'm seeing a lot of influencers saying, oh, it was bearish, 𝗪𝗁𝗏 saying we can go down to 20. I watched Rand's show yesterday. So with that being said, I think late shorts, there's always a saying that late shorts get wrecked. And I think that would be the max pain situation, is wreck all the late shorts, everybody gets bullish again, wreck the longs, and then look for that SFP down. The
usual
or look
play,
for the swing
right?
failure at the 24.808.
So how was this Rune situation this morning? I traded Rune. There were 3 trades on offer today on Rune, Dave, at Sam. I got the first one. There was this massive pop. We were saying earlier, we think every man and his dog was shorting Rune up here at 1.7. So this thing absolutely exploded. Then it came back down. I picked it up here, and I rode it up to this area, and I thought, let's not be too greedy. Let's exit the party there. And look what it's done here. I mean, it's so frustrating. We picked up another break of trend, reload, and it's gone again. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Rune. Do you guys know anything about this?
I wish I did. There's got to be some Rune Telegram whales. They're saying, hey, man, get some other whales to buy this thing up. That's all I can think of. This makes no sense, but
it's funny. I've been watching Rune because it's just like going crazy over the last week and a half straight up, and people are like, oh, Rune, because anything gets popular, then it's going to come on my channel. Someone's going to be like, hey, can you go over Rune? So I was like, I wouldn't touch it once it got really it got extended on that daily, right? But dude, it's consolidating. So like, to me, anytime I see something that's I'll just watch it on now. What I do, I like to swing trade. I'm a big swing trader, so I'll watch the daily. And if that consolidates on the daily, then I know it's more bullish, right? And then I might start scalping it. Like, I'll make sure there's a good long-term trend, and then I'll start scalping maybe smaller time frames, right? But like, if Rune can do this, it's too far away from the 21. Like, and it's too overbought in the stochastics. To me, it's cooked. Like, I don't think it goes up anymore. Maybe some small time frame action, and you never know, right? You never know.
Talk to me about the 21. Is that 21 MA on the?
Yeah, the 21 MA is right here. And so the way I play it is, the way I trade is, I'm not always right, but I sell tops pretty close, or close to tops, as long as I go to a bigger time frame, and when I see a huge pump if price action gets too far away from the 21, it has to revisit it. Like this pump, it did it. It came back. Here it pumps. It
21
comes back.
MA on the daily.
Yeah.
Is that your weapon, or is it the actual? The
I use 21 in any single time frame I want to use it on. But like for instance, like I just got out of 𝗏𝗏𝗃, right? Like I was in 𝗏𝗏𝗃 for weeks, and I built a great position, and then it got into price discovery, and I was waiting for price discovery, and I sold here because I went to the 3-day, and we were just too far away from the 21-day moving average. Like we're just too far away. And there was also a bearish divergence, and I'll see this over and over again. You'll see a bearish div on the daily. So it is a bearish div on the daily, a bearish div on the 3-day, and it was away from the 21. And I'll pull my fib just like you see, and I'll wait, and I'll just wait. The last time I sold the top of CAS here, I sold 37. It did go to 44. I didn't sell the exact top, but the same thing. It pumped away from the 21, and then you have to be patient. The smaller time frames will keep telling you to get back in. Like the 4-hour will look good. Like everyone thinks CAS was going to break out of this wedge and keep pushing up, and it may. You never know, but the likelihood is that it takes 40 days to reset down to the 618. But that takes so much patience. And then I bought back in at an Adam and Eve double bottom. I am highlighting one of my best trades in the last month. It's not every trade goes that
David
well.
caught that one as well. I was very jealous because David got that. He got that cash trade off a 786 pullback, and he actually sent it to me one day. And he said, "I'm long in CAS. Do you like it?" And I said, "Yes," and I didn't take it. And I saw his P&L, and I was so upset. And since then, I've been trying to catch CAS, and it stops me every single time.
Well, because I've been seeing people going crazy leverage trading. Bitcoin's been sideways, right? So everyone's been like, it's been hard. It's like there's less meat out there, right? Everyone's fighting for the same move. And so this was like I took this as a great blessing, bear market pump. We were on it since back in here. Luckily, someone brought it up on my channel, and I was even late. Some people apparently were up 4,000% already. They got in at like 0.0001. So, but I like the project because I'm like old school Bitcoin dude. It's got the proof of work. It's got some of the Bitcoin people behind it. There's some, it has like it halves to the pentatonic scale, the mnemonic scale of like the piano. Like if you deep dive this project, it'll bug you out. Like it'll bug you out. Like so.
That's good.
So I know we're not deep diving CAS, but
losing my camera then.
Yeah. CAS is I've got a spot bag there, and I hear a lot of good things. And
so Bitcoin should bounce. Like Bitcoin should bounce. So now I'm on the edge of when do I get back in? You know what I mean? Like I'm on that like. And I want to go back in.
Can I show you what I'm tracking?
Yeah,
let's do it.
I'm watching this BTC on the 15 minutes. It's not normally my thing, but I'm just trying to get direction here for these alts. So I'm tracking this 15 minutes, patiently waiting for a move up. I am sitting in a uni position here currently.
A uni long?
Uni long, and I'm
it's like you're front running the right shoulder.
So
and
it's a little bit of a
with
risky
an ER.
play. Yeah,
and Casper.
KAS.
Oh, you're in Casper, the one we're talking about now. That's so funny.
The one you're shorting.
No, I'm not short. I'm not shorting right now. But it does look like the 4 hours going to come down to the bottom of the channel, like see.
Yeah. So we called this short on the live session yesterday. We said we were looking for rejection in this area. And this morning, I opened everything, and I was looking on the 15-minute, 1 hour, and I saw we'd broken up. So I've taken a sneaky long here with this 382 in mind to hold my area. It's already dipped just below, so I'm sort of at a point now where I might look to cut it. But
I never enter a short when the Stokes are that high. Like for me, when the Stokes are that high, I would never. I couldn't enter the short for my because it's just I'm too extended. I want to be before the extension if I can be, but I'm like dead on the stochastics. Like they'll tell me like what to do.
Yeah. So look, a little bit speculative. I absolutely killed it on Rune this morning. So those stop losses are paid for.
Excellent.
It's almost it's a risk-free situation
for
me.
Yeah.
Get that move. I'm in. We can always add later. They're not massive sizes.
Yeah.
So the hard work was done this morning. Rune came to help me. So and then just another couple of things I'm looking at, and this is higher time frame stuff. We've got a lot of alts pushing into resistance areas. This is Aptos, just a random example. A lot of them look like this. We're pushing into these horizontal resistance big areas, dailies, 12 hours. We're pushing into 786 fibs. So I'm just interested, to hear your thoughts, Dave and Sam, because the longer we sit at these resistance points, we know the bears are shorting, they're shorting, and the sentiment is so negative. So is that not an opportunity to start firing up a potential squeeze here into the next fib zone? For example, the 6.5 that we have up here, the 6.5 level on Aptos.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, right now, I think we should all be looking for short setups. I mean, that's been my strategy for a bit here is shorting the tops of some of these altcoin pumps. And with what I had mentioned about Bitcoin, if it does rise and takes out some of these late shorts, that Aptos that you were just showing there, that it'll probably reach that resistance area. And that might be a good alert to set there at 6.5.
And we see it happen. We see it happen quite quickly. We saw it on Injective, and you can show us your Injective chart just now. But Injective popped so hard and it rejected immediately. I think we had like a 5% pullback immediately from that rejection area we were watching. This is DYDX. We're seeing the same thing. Sam, we're pushing into the 786. What are you thinking here? I mean, are we shorting these areas here, or are we waiting for a little push?
Look what I'm seeing.
And I'd love to hear about your sand short you're teeing up as well.
It's funny too, is as I became a trader, you know, it's research, technique, and then you start thinking that there's no way it could be simple. I don't like using the word easy, but simple. But literally, like Friday night, Sand's going to unlock a bunch of tokens. Like it was in the news. Like, you know what I mean? You could have just built a short right there. And then like, it was like someone handing you money. You know what I mean? Like, and then Bitcoin dropped as well. And it just added to the short. So it was like, that's like, sometimes there is simple money out here. You know what I mean? You just like, you get it. I feel like any profession in life, you get like a perk, right? A gimme, you know, like you work super hard. Tons of trades take, you know, you go up, you go down, you take stop losses, you win. But then every once in a while, there's like an obvious play, you know? So what you're drawing? Yeah, you're drawing like a fib here.
So what do you got there? What is that? Is that sand?
No, this is DYDX, right?
It's DYDX. Yeah. So we're seeing a lot of these alts. They all look the same. You know, they dropped, they've pumped hard. They're sitting at resistance now, waiting for the next move. Is it going to be a mega dump? Or are we going to blow through these areas? So yeah, just interested to see your thoughts on DYDX.
Yeah, I'm really big on I'm really big on the 3-day chart. I didn't always use it, and it's funny when you don't use a certain chart and then you start using it, you can see what you missed before. So like I can see longs I was taking when the 3-day chart was against me for years now. And now I'm like, man, I could have just waited for the bigger trend to reset. So to me, like, you know what, I keep seeing, and I'm also a pattern guy though. So I keep seeing this like shoulder head. I keep seeing this like inverted head and shoulder vibe that does tend to break out a lot. And when moving averages get tight, you tend to pump up to this 200 SMA. I see that all the time, you know? So to me, it's like, small time frame symmetrical triangle there, right? It's a 50-50 shot, really. 3-day does want to come down though. Like in my mind, this says we go down to the bottom of this trend line, you know. And whenever I pattern trade, I tend to do, you know, pretty well. So like bottom, top, like you're likely to come, like whenever I just look at it, like you're gonna come to the bottom of the channel, you know. It's more likely you will fall to the bottom of the channel because you're overbought in the Stokes. You have lack of bullish momentum in the MACD. You seem to be turning. You've crossed below the medium line on the RSI, and you even have like a shoulder head and shoulder here that kind of tells me you might drop, you know? So yeah, kind of a shoulder head and shoulder there too. To me, it's all about total 3, right? All the altcoins excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I watched this like a hawk. So this has to get above some key levels. I was excited because we kind of had a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder there. And there was, you know, there was some good looking, possible price action. However, we had to get back above that key level right there. Let me delete all this. We had to get above this key level right here, right? 403 billion. So I always watch total, and like no matter what I'm looking at on my alts, I'm looking at key support and resistance areas on total 3, right? And so like that's a rollover to me. I don't know. It's just you've lost it. You know, you're losing key supports, and then again, I go back to my smaller time frames, and I'm like, well, what levels have to be breached? And you're like, well, like we can't really even be like along really until we get above 343. Like I don't feel comfortable. Like the bulls haven't done enough work, you know. And when moving averages get tight in a downtrend, they tend to continue, just like Bollinger Bands. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more lows for at least a couple days. You know what I mean? I want a better divergence. The divergence was weird. Like it wasn't see, this was the main liquidation divergence there. It to me, it wasn't strong enough on the RSI personally. Like that RSI, I feel like I feel like we need a stronger divergence for me to believe we're going to reverse back up in the altcoin. So again, like I say, if Bitcoin can't get above 26,000, I wouldn't long any altcoin, you know? So I would stay bearish. Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, I mean, we looking for shorts on the back of a push up, Dave. Sam, you're not feeling a big move up now in the near term. You want to see downside.
I personally, if I just zoomed out and looked at the 4 hour, I'd say yeah. But I know that my smaller time frames will tell me what to do, and until they break above a key level, I can't make a long. You get it? Like it's just how my mind works. So I have to remain bearish, literally until we get above, literally 26,266. You know, I'll give it 26,000. Like that's the first. That could be the beginning. That could be the first step. We do have a higher low, higher low. So you would expect a higher high, but I want to see it first. So like for me, I'd rather watch this breakout. And then if we make like a flag later on today or something on the 7, you know, then I'd be more apt to trade a scalp for a long here in this area. But like until we make, you know, for me, it's just more likely you're coming down to the bottom of the channel. Because you just, the bears have not shown me. And I said this morning at 29 whatever, and we're at 25.8. Like you had been in the money with my morning update in my trading group. Like I'm not saying I'm amazing. I'm just, you'd be up $100 on whatever leverage. If you traded 10x,
you are good.
Yeah.
I mean, we took that long. You teed that BTC long up for us.
I lose trades all the time, though. I just want to make that clear. Like I lose trades all the time. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm not some like
we all do. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you get rinsed, you get rinsed. But you know, occasionally we catch the big one, and then
if you stay in the game long enough. Yeah.
Correct. Dave, show me this injective chart. I know you are killing it on the ByBit comp on this injective.
Yeah, sure.
I saw that P&L this morning. It was actually quite gross. I wish I was in that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Let me see if I can get this going here. Can you guys see that?
I'm going to add. Can I add your screen there? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so talk to me about this. Where's your entry?
So my entry is right here at 7.228. It's pretty funny. I was actually getting my daughter's schedule when this whole dump happened, and you know we were in that render long. Took a loss on that render long. Actually had a stop loss on injective, and when this candle happened here, it really wasn't that much of a dip compared to everything else, and then the reaction was extremely strong. And when I saw the reaction there, kind of like a swing failure pattern that we talk about, right? It comes back, reclaims. And that was my trigger to enter the long. So right now, that position's up 130%. I'm looking for higher on injective just because the way it reacted to the market on that dump is pretty incredible. So I am looking for higher. This is a resistance area here. It looks like it tried once, tried twice. Looks like it's going to go for another one here. If Bitcoin does have that move up that I talked about, maybe up here to 28.8. That's probably where I'll take more profits or close the position there.
Are there entries now for people looking to jump into injective? Where do they get in? Is it at 7.6 on a pullback? To right at the top, or are you saying just hang tight? We look for a short later.
It would just really depend. Like you know, I was watching this trend line here, where you know the typical breakup trend, you know, broke trend here. It looked like it tested the 7.75 area already. If it does hold strong, this could be maybe a small position here and ladder in maybe another position here. Be smart with your leverage there. Don't go crazy. 50x leverage. Like maybe start off with a 5x leverage position, catch a wick down here. Yeah, and then increase your leverage from this point forward. But yeah, if we do something like this, you know, that could be a potential scenario there. And the only reason why I'm bullish on Injective, right? Like I'm looking to short altcoins, but Injective just had a strong reaction. So when you have strong coins like Injective and Rune, they're having their own party, and I want to be part of the Injective party.
Yeah, that took us all by surprise, didn't it? I mean, it really held well, and we were talking about that before the dump happened. We were saying this isn't a good area; it's looking decent, and it only pulled back a couple of percent, and then it absolutely ripped. So yeah, what a great trade! Unfortunately, I missed that one.
Mm-hmm. And then I know you guys were talking about DYDX. I wish I took a comp trade on that, but I mentioned this last Saturday on Kyle's show that this resistance area here, I was looking to enter a short past the moving average. Never got there. You can see I have my alert here at 2.31, but I did enter a position here at 2.24, and I noticed this rising wedge with a potential target all the way down here. I actually drew this pole before any of this played out. In fact, it was probably like right here, this red candle here, whenever I kind of made that target, and it went way below that. I closed 2/3 of my position. I'm holding up 1/3 of the position. But yeah, I closed 2/3 of the position at 278%, 15x short there. So I love DYDX. I've been writing it up, writing it down. It's holding the support here. So if Bitcoin does have that bounce up to, what I had mentioned earlier, that we might see, just like what we were talking about, this now turning into resistance. So the 618 area might be a good entry for a short.
Okay, I want to set my alarm on that one. What is the number there for that short zone?
Yeah, maybe like set an alert at 2.016, right? And then I typically just do alert name short area, and then maybe the top of this one here, short area. And I know that we use Lux Algo as somewhat of a helping tool. I do believe there's an order block there.
Are they order blocks there as well? Sam, do you ever use order blocks?
Honestly, like, it's support and resistance. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same exact levels that I would mark with support and resistance, or my 618 level. Like, I used order blocks for like a month and a half, and I found that like they were all the exact VRVP levels. I used the VRVP. Like, VRVP is just going to show you the profile, and the profiles will be exactly where the order blocks are. Like 90% of the time. So like whether you're using fibs, order blocks, VRVP, or your heavy support and resistance, like a heavy support and resistance trader that never looked at an order block.
Volume shelf.
Yeah, on the right. Yeah, the volume range profile, or some people call it VPR, right? But yeah, like you'll because I'm self-taught, so like I took what you're supposed to do, and then I just kept doing everything else. So like I did support, I did, and one day I'm alone, thousands of hours playing with the charts, and I'm like, oh my god, like the 618 matches all these support and resistance levels. And then you think back, why? Well, philosophically, traders are blind, meaning we can't see forward, we can only look left. So anytime a trader looks for anything, he looks left. He's already inside of an algorithm that's got him locked in, because we're inside of a mathematical, like we live in a universal math equation. So like if you go back in the past and try to look for support or resistance, you're likely hitting areas that fib traders found for you because they created it, right? I mean, why do you think, so whether if you're a hard fib trader, you'll see. So if you do enough trading after 10 years, you'll see that they all align. Like they all start to align, because you'll do 4 years of fib, then you'll do 4 years of support, and then over time, all your math will just.
But it's almost like we have a gentleman's agreement between traders,
Yeah.
And when we hit that 618, we all know we're in, and it's who's left holding the hot potato afterwards.
I just want to add to his Injective idea, because I think people will like. My system says Inject is very, very bullish. It's funny. We were getting an Injective 178. I got lucky, and I think it was late January or somewhere early January. And that was one of the biggest calls on my channel when it went all the way to like $9. And I like what you guys said. You don't have to be a genius. One day I was on my live, Bitcoin tanked. I went to CoinMarketCap. I hit the 1 hour. There was 7 coins that were bouncing, right? So I said, I actually like these Bitcoin dumps, because it cuts all the trash and only shows us like the 5 or 6 coins that we should be trading for the next couple of days. Because it really shows, Injective is one of them. So you're on point, man. You're nailing it. Like Injective, looks like it's going to bounce, possibly continue to the top of this little ascending triangle, 948, and then go sideways.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned that you don't use order blocks. I never used order blocks either until 𝗪𝗏 came out, and it took a little while to get used to. But this is an order block that we identified a few weeks ago, and it definitely helped us out. I had called this short on injective.
Because to me, that's just resistance. That was like it hit 3 times on the left. So like to me, it's simple. Like it was just I would have marked resistance there, and then I would have said don't long until you get above it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. Yeah, it's funny. It would have been that simple to me.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Look, I agree with those. I agree with those areas. Hey, Dave. And if we get some kind of pump, I think we can look for a nice reaction yet too.
Yeah. So I'll just go through a few more here that I'm looking for, or I've got alert set. Phantom. I'll talk about Phantom last. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So Solana, and guys, I'm a trader. I'm not here to talk bad about Solana. I actually have an NFT on Solana. Yeah, great.
If you want, we can use the phrase shitcoin. It doesn't matter.
The shitcoin.
I think Solana's whack. I'm just joking.
Yeah. But
there's somebody off of the ground. We love you guys. We love you guys. We love you guys. We love you, Baker.
But we are seeing this trend line here that's formed. We have this support area here, and again, my thing is I'm looking for shorts. So yes, if you're in a long right now, hey, you could make a 10% gain. But I think once it reaches this trend line, pay attention. This is not an area to set limit orders. I personally don't set limit orders. I just wait for the reaction. I have alert set, but we might see a fake out, right? So we might see something like, let me get my brush here. So we might see something like this. Everybody gets bullish, everybody longs, and then it comes back inside. That could be the trigger to short. Once it comes back inside, that will be my trigger to short.
I love that fake out. I love that fake out straight into horizontal.
Shark fin.
Yeah, I love that.
They do it all the time. And you got to be aware of that. So that's why it's important to never set your limit orders, because it'll be a fake out, and you'll be stopped out, or you'll be liquidated, and then it goes, and then you're revenge trading, like, oh my god, I was right, like what the heck, and that's why it's important. Just be patient.
If we want to set our alarms for the short opportunity on ADA, what's the number there?
On ADA?
Yeah.
Or you mean
what's the number there on the trend? Sorry, what do you got? Sol.
Oh, Sol. Yeah, so yeah. So I would set it. I have 2 alerts here. So I have this one resistance area here at 22.62, 23.33, and then at that point, I'm going to be looking at my phone, but maybe another good alert to set is maybe at 24.
Will you show how you set alerts again? I just want to see how you do it.
Yeah. So you'll see this plus sign here as you drag it, right? And then once you move your pointer directly on it, you can right click and then click edit, and then give it an alert name. So this is like a short area, notifications. You can change whatever sound you want. 30 seconds, have it send an email. So anytime an alert goes off, I'm getting buzzed multiple different ways in email.
My computer is constantly ringing, and my wife's like, what is that? I'm like, you don't know what that is by now? Like the other day, I was like, ding, 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 ding. And I was like, babe, like, it's my life. That's my life.
That's right. There you go. Yeah.
I started using
how many times do we set up these charts and we walk away and we miss the move? So you need these alerts in your life.
I have literally over 500 alerts or something at any moment. It's insane because I run a trading group, so I need to watch. I need to watch hundreds of charts at once. It's like
I think 𝗪𝗏 launched some kind of moon pillow. Did you see the moon pillow?
Yes, I want one. How do you get one?
It's got an alarm in it.
It's amazing.
When your trading view goes off, it wakes you up.
God.
Yeah, it's insane.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's hard.
So just real quick, guys, can you guys see my Discord here?
No.
Or is it only showing?
I see your window, your ADA window.
How do I share?
Just click out and then click window. You might be on
click
tab.
So open the Discord and then so guys, I think what David's going to show you is a tool that he uses. as part of his trading strategy. Like we have all these indicators, all these things, but in the banter Discord,
some alpha guys.
The sniper team preps charts every single day. We update these areas, we update these levels. We do it for you guys every day. You check in, you see where your charts are, you look for your levels, you set your own alarms, you can use it to practice, you can trade with those levels, you can fade them, do whatever you want to do. You know, the work's getting done, we're dumping it in there for you. And one of the key tools that David won the ByBit competition was he kept referring to the banter sniper team's Discord charts. So that sort of helped him with his decision making along the way, whether he was exiting positions or whether he was adding to them or whether it was time to TP. So yeah, Dave, if you can pull that up, I'd appreciate that.
Do you guys see it?
I'm going to add it to our screen. There we go.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, before I bet you guys out in Miami, found banter, and one of the most attractive things was the banter charts. I had never seen anything like it. Thought it was awesome how you guys have all these logos. You made it very appealing, but the charts were really like the initial lens that I needed, right? So it kind of sets the basis of where everything is at level wise, and then I'll use some of the things that I have, some of the tools that I have to kind of put an extra set of lens on a certain token I'm looking at. But yeah, this is pretty incredible. I know Dylan is adding different tokens on here. We didn't have 𝗏𝗏𝗏 on here before. Now we do. I know we're looking at adding a few more. But yeah, this is a great place to start if you guys are brand new at trading. I'll kind of just pull up an example.
Open one of those for us there? Yeah, show us.
Yeah. So I'm gonna show 𝗍𝗍𝗍 because that was one that played out pretty well here. So we actually talked about. Let me see if I can go back. Yeah, it was right here. So 8-7. I remember waking up in the morning. I saw this. I went immediately to my chart. I copied it, and I wasn't in a trade. I was waiting for what you had drawn here up to the 30-cent region. So coming back here, I drew that out, and I had an alert set like just what I said. And then this was my entry here at 0.2992. I remember a lot of people were hating me on that because I guess maybe they're 𝗍𝗍𝗍 bag holders. And again, I'm not, I don't hate a certain token. It's just I'm trading the charts, right? So we're seeing,
for sure.
Yeah. So I came up here, took the short.
Be careful with 𝗍𝗍𝗍 comments. I think Sam's a big 𝗍𝗍𝗍 fan, right?
I just really got pissed. I was gonna shut the screen off.
Dude, long term, guys, when we're in the bull run, I'm sure 𝗍𝗍𝗍 is going to go to the freaking moon. All these tokens are going to go to the moon. Right now, we're in a bear market. We're trying to maximize the market going up, going down. But right here, whenever I had made this call on Twitter, I set a really tight stop loss. 1.5 and 2% move here.
Good for you.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Dope.
Yeah, right here. So what was support is now acting as potential resistance. And again, this all came from the charts, right? I even mentioned it here. I identified this setup on the banter charts, had it on the watch list, came up there, took the short, gave an update, 76%, gave another update, hit target one, left 2/3, and then yesterday or whenever that crazy wick happened, I fully closed it here. So now we're looking at a potential move up here. Now, now the 618 is probably resistance. And I drew this trend line here, and I'm keeping an eye on it here. So, with everybody here on the stream, it might be a good idea to maybe set an alert right here in the middle of the 618.
777 just shot up. That's funny. Look at that. The 777.
Short area.
That's my number, man. It's so crazy. Wherever I go, 777s, and then you got it right there.
Yeah.
It happens. Ask my whole community. It happens all the time. Yes, I got gas. 7733. It's so weird.
Yeah. So yeah, set some alerts here, short area. And again, we could see a fake out, but I personally don't think we're going to see a fake out. It's a slow mover, a little bit more of a safer token to trade. Not crazy volatility, but this trade here took a while to play out. I mean, initially made the call. What date was that? August 8th. So, a week and a half. But if you guys are patient, it plays out. So now I'm looking for altcoins to short right now. There's a couple of tokens that It's very difficult to do that with like Rune. But you know, I'm looking for something like this, a move up. That would be a potential 6% move, and you know, looking to short this thing down to you know, wherever it goes.
I want to accentuate something he's doing, everyone. Anyone who's watching me, that watches me every day, is I tell everyone the trade, like when I make a trade, like I'm eyeing that trade. Like when I made a Kosh network trade recently, went up 159%, right? I eyed it from like July 20th, like you did. Like, see, he's eyeing his entry like maybe 2 weeks before, a week and a half before. He has, and that's trading is not pressing the button. Today, I'm going to look for like 50 of these and set alerts. The next day, I'm going to do the same thing. And it's going to be a conveyor belt. As the alerts hit 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be seeing what I'm looking at. And then 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be setting. So I just want everyone to realize what he's doing is amazing. He's setting up his entries way beforehand, because beginners come in and say, why every time I buy it goes down, every time I sell it goes up. Well, did you actually plan it out? Like, did you eye out the coin? Did you map out, you know, your strategy? And did you have a place where you were looking at for days? The problem with too is it's kind of like real estate. You can sit on a client, keep showing them something, and then never buy. You set up a bunch of these. He may never hit that trade. That trade may go out. The point is he has a bunch of setups in waiting, and he's going to continue to go at the ones that make sense to him. So trading is really just consistently going through setups all the time and creating your preparation. Like, so I just love that.
Yeah, 100%. And
you know,
and guys, that's why we're going through all this effort for you every day. My camera should pick back up. I don't know why I've got tech issues today, guys. Sorry about that.
Looks great though. I like
we go through this effort. We go through this effort every day for you to give you these 4-hour time frame, daily time frame areas, so you don't have to panic. You can look at the chart, you can track it every day, set your alarms, just chill, 20, 30 charts in there, and trade these high percentage areas. If you're scalping in volatile conditions, you can get hurt pretty quickly, especially on the weekends. So really, you know, go to the charts, look at our time frames, look at these big reaction zones. Some of them work, some of them don't. But when they work, they really work, you know, and then they hit their areas. And as long as you got decent risk management, you're going to be good there, guys.
So I'll do one more here, and then I'll pass it back to you, Dylan. Yeah, I noticed whenever Bitcoin had this crazy dump, it only dumped 9. And from where the low was 3.82%, I am in a sneaky long right now. With DOT, my goal is to write it up and write it down. So from where we are, 6% move into this potential resistance. And then I'm looking for that rollover down to this monthly level at 4.18. If we go to the monthly, this is where I'm getting that. Back in October 2020 and November 2020. You know, if you guys are looking to spot buy this thing, I mean, we are at the lows. This thing is just crazy to me.
I can't believe we're back at those lows. Yeah.
How low we are. I mean, it's a 10x. So next bull market, easy 10x in my opinion. But back to trading, you know, I think this is the next setup that I'm looking for. And once it gets to this monthly level, this is probably where I'm going to be waiting for a swing failure pattern to enter a swing long and then write it back up to wherever we go. You know?
So kind of like you entered that, trying to think of the long that you entered, the DYD. But you wait for that confirmation. Like you wait for the swing value come up, you wait for it to come create that.
Yeah, it'll do something like this, right? It'll go. So like, let's just say this is the 618 and everybody's got their limit orders set here. Well, the market makers love to take out those guys, right? So they'll do something like this. They'll go way below. Oops. They'll do something like this. Boom, take them out. And you'll see a quick recovery. And this happens literally in like 5-10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then it'll hold, wait for the hold. And then that's kind of your trigger, right? You enter here and then boom, write it to however. And then this is kind of like where you can increase your leverage, add more to your position.
You feel comfortable there. That's like your reset, your retest in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is where you could, you know, set your stop loss at break even.
Are you using vector candles too? Are you watching like volume on the candles?
Yeah, sometimes I do, but mostly it's more reaction trading.
Yep.
For me. So, but yeah, hopefully that was some insight.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, thanks, man. I'm watching similar stuff. Look, a lot of these alts look the same, right? So we're just going to pick our favorite ones. We pick, you know, The worst ones are the ones you maybe want to short, the ones you hate, maybe make you feel better. But you know, a lot of them are climbing these little channels now. So it's quite easy to see what's going to happen. We lose the channel, we're probably coming down to visit these lows.
That's a bear flag,
this
right
is
there,
a rising. Yeah. So I mean, you know what eventually happens. These things come down, but it might be one more look at the top. We can just trade it accordingly. And if we zoom out on this phantom, for example, this is a massive resistance zone coming up. So I would expect some kind of rejection here in this area. So if we do get bullish over the next 24 hours, make sure you're out sort of in this zone, or at least TPing, because I'm expecting a move back into this massive weekly support zone. So, you know, if you want to be long later on, you want to be patient, you want to let it break up, let it find support in this area again, and then it can kick on. So if you are currently in a phantom long, TP zone is if we lose that channel and we start dropping, or if we push higher, we want to get out at about 0.21. That sort of region. I see I've lost my camera again. Okay, same story with Matic as well. I see there's a couple of traders out there shorting Matic currently. It might give us a surprise. If we zoom out on Matic, we can see it's at a resistance zone. It's very obvious that we're at a rejection area right now, isn't it? But if we zoom in, we can see things are pushing up here. And if we continue to ride this little channel up one more time, you never know, we might get a little squeeze up there, because we know there's a lot of shorts now and there's a lot of stops sort of sitting above these zones. So I kind of have my eyes on Matic now. Potential pop up. If we start losing this, I think we get a nice short opportunity, and then we're going to visit this wick down here for a potential long later. Maybe even touch a little bit lower, hey, Dave. Maybe we do something like that, like you're telling us, and look for that option. So yeah, just tracking this little, what do we call this? An ascending wedge on Matic.
It's an ascending triangle. Yeah.
There we go. So
it's a 50-50 pattern.
618, yeah. 50-50.
Yeah, by the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can go either way.
So, you know,
in bullish scenarios, it tends to break out. It depends on what the Stokes are. Like, you watch it get tight, and if you get high Stokes, it usually dumps. Yeah, so that's why whenever I trade 50-50 patterns, I use stochastics, and they give me like, they usually can push a 50-50 scenario to like a 60 or a 60-80, give you a little more.
No, talk to me about some of your secret sauce, Sam. Give us some secret sauce on these MAs, your favorite MAs. What are they? I want to add them to my charts. I used your tip the other day. I added the 200 on the 4 hour. So now I use that as a reference guide a lot. What else do you like?
I mean, I use 5. I basically make a band, like a easy band or whatever, basically like an EMA band and a ribbon, but I make a simple ribbon with the 21, the 50, the 80, the 100, and the 200, right? I'll be honest, I don't use the 80.
So not a daily.
Well, this is what's, if you show my screen, I'll show you. See, this is,
show us.
It's like, I use the word like time space continuum, because it's, when I first got in, like, so this is how I teach it. I'll look at Bitcoin and the all-time history index, right? And so whenever I teach anyone anything, I show them something on a bigger time frame first, because that's where it makes the most sense and you can kind of see it, right? So for instance, like, whenever I noticed, and I'll take away my old work, but I've noticed I'm a long-term Bitcoin holder since 2017, and I've been buying it. And so I bought it down here, luckily, right? And it ran up, came back down, and I did buy here, and then I bought, and I'm wondering what were the moving averages looking like? So whenever moving averages get really close together, I know I'm in a pretty good area. I'm in like a low value area. Like, I'm buying low value. Whenever the 21 and the 200 get really far apart, I know I'm in a high value area. I was able to call this top for Bitcoin. I'm not going to tell anyone I called this top. I kind of should have, because I had a Pi cycle that told me to sell there. But this was the top to me, because I had been scalping the 1 hour. Think about it, for 2-3 years straight. Okay. And anytime, and on any indicator in the world, anytime price action got away from the 21, we came back to it. And anytime the 21 and the 200 got far apart, we would dump. Right. So anytime I was in a trade and I would see the 21 and the 200 start to widen, and then I would look for bearish div. I would get bearish div. The 200 would be, and then also on top of that, you'll get an overbought RSI. You'll get bearish div on the stochastics, and the MACD will be overbought. You'll also likely be getting falling volume with rising price. So you'll look for a divergence in volume and price. You look for a divergence in price and momentum. And then you'll also look for the moving average to be far apart. So I've been doing this for years, right? And I figured that was now my strategy, but I didn't know that it worked on bigger time frames. So you'll eventually get a strategy and you'll nail it, but then you'll be like, huh. So I backtested on the 4, it worked. I backtested on the daily. So then next thing you know, I'm watching Bitcoin and we pump on the weekly and we get really far away from the 21 on the weekly. And my spidey sense goes up and I go, oh my God, that's a top, because that's a top on all the others. And then I also said, I found things that were true on the 1 minute that became true on the 4. I said, so if I backtested this on the 4 hour and the daily, then this has to be the top. I said, it's everything. I would teach my students this every week for literally 2 years. I would do the class and I would teach them that I get out of trades when I see bearish divergence, when the 21 and the 200 are far apart. And when, so you had bearish div on the RSI, which you never get on the weekly. Like, it's so rare. So I use moving averages. So that's my special sauce, really. And this is when and that's when I realized I had something. I was like, man, I called the public top, and I got more known. People like, oh, get this guy on the channel. He said stuff that happened, right? Whatever.
That's incredible.
Well,
and you start getting a little notoriety, but you only get the notoriety because of hours and hours of work that I did. So I cried one day when people finally listened to me and like saw things, and I was able to prove things. I was like, oh my God, I spent hours alone doing this. At least I got something for it. You know what I mean? So it's like, you get gems in life if you put your all into it. That's how I look at life, So again, whenever these get so I took that and I just ran with that. And so like today, like if we look at the 1 hour today and we see what's going on, we got tight moving averages. That usually means you're going to get some type of move, right? Whenever they get really tight. And look, now that inverted head and shoulder broke to the upside. And now the 7 minute did hit the 200 SMA. So like I have this, or the 15, let's see. Whenever moving averages get tight, I'm back testing, but see how those move. This is back in the day, but see how the moving averages got tight. What happened? So I look for patterns. I look for price action to get tight. Okay. Once it gets tight, I look for the moving averages to get really close. And then I make entries, little like inverted head and shoulders. I use patterns and stochastics to enter the trade. So like, I don't like entering any trades unless my stochastics are low. And I don't like entering longs unless my stochastics are high. And so I would enter shorts when the 21 and the 200 are far apart and I get bearish div and the stochastics are high. And I enter longs when I get bullish div and the stochastics and the moving averages are close and the stochastics are low. And I do that over and over again now. And now I'm able to use it on anything. I can do it on Forex, Tesla. Like, you can put this on anything in the world and it works pretty well, and I use, what I do is I use alerts to time the entry. I don't know why I've lost. So I, like he does, I look for high overbought 4 hour personally, and then I set alerts for oversold. So like today, I'll be scanning I'll look for low dailies, and then I'll scan the market for low 4 hours. I'll set tons of alerts on them, like 50 of them. And then when they all start coming down, I'll start looking for the divergences on the smaller time frames for the entry. So like Bitcoin is like by my system, Bitcoin should pump up to this 200 SMA. It should. That's what's supposed to happen here. However, I do have supportive resistance that I want to break above first. But my system claims that, now that you've made the divergence and you have a higher low, you should pump up to the 200 SMA. You also have a gap in the VRVP. I just don't make the move until I get the confirmation of supportive resistance because I've been burned.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, it'll seem like I'm saying two different things a lot at once. But if you know a lot, you'll be like, all right, he's waiting for his confirmation.
So we're going to call it cautiously bullish.
And look, if you flip this upside down, this is exactly how I just showed you how to short. You would short when you get the 21 far apart from the 200. So I started flipping the charts upside down, and I realized once I learned the long, I could learn to short. Because it's the same thing. The charts don't care that you're standing where you're standing. They do whatever. A long is a short is a long. Like that rising wedge broke down, just like a falling wedge will break up, right? So
we find it so tough, don't we? I mean, it's against natural bias to short tokens and to short stocks and that sort of thing. It's not a natural thing. It
took me 7 years to open my first short. I'll be honest. Like I traded long for a long time. I still have the other day I told my whole channel I sold all the 𝗓𝗲𝗄. I sold like $20,000 worth of 𝗓𝗲𝗄. What the hell was I not shorting it for? I knew it was going to go down. Why did I sell it? But my bias instinct was to get out of the beautiful long that I had made and celebrate my long.
So it's the same with me, and I'd say it's the same with a lot of traders out there, and especially the new guys. Like, if you're too scared to short, you're not alone. It's quite a foreign sort of feeling. And I do the same thing that Sam does there. We flip those charts a lot because we're so used to seeing like a support buy or a break of trend and a retest. Now we flip it over, and then you get that same feeling, you know, the way you set up your short. And again, like, you're not defined as a trader, like if you can short. It doesn't actually matter. You could be a trader that waits. You can wait days, weeks, and you catch it in your basket in a good area, and you send it back up, and you make your 4%, your 6%. You don't have to short. So don't feel you have to spend time shorting and perfect the art. It's actually irrelevant. Pick a side if you want, and go with what you're comfortable with, and just practice great risk management, right? I mean, there's no other way to really explain that one.
Yeah.
No, spot on.
So like if this keeps going sideways though, and the 200 comes and joins, we're gonna dump. You see, because it's like these are and that's how that guy made Bollinger Bands the same way, and the guy who recreated the MACD, it's the moving average convergence divergence. Whenever it gives you a buy signal, you're getting tight moving averages. Whenever you're getting a sell signal on the MACD, you got far away moving averages. So the guy who made the MACD just took he took basically standard deviation points as moving averages got far and long. Like he has the 12 and the 26 and then the 9 EMA. So for years I just called this the MACD. Now I can explain it. Like I know how the guy made it. Like, so like that's why I don't use a lot of other paid indicators, because I can, after using a paid indicator for like a week, I can figure out how the person made it. I can usually find the momentum that led to their indicator. You know what I mean? Like money flow is great, but if you don't have it all comes from RSI momentum. It all spawns from this one genius who created that RSI. Like it all comes from there. You know what I mean? If you don't have RSI, like, you know what I mean? Like it bugs. I love the science of this. Like we could just sit here for days and talk about like the breakdown of the indicators and stuff. Like that's mind boggling to me.
Okay, so your main ones are the MACD. I'm just looking here. The stochastics you love. And
stochastics RSI, yeah, not the stochastic RSI specifically. Yeah, RSI,
Okay.
supportive resistance. Like if you take a class with me, I spend an hour before I even put an indicator. Like we go over trend analysis. I go over price action and volume. I'm a huge guy with a volume and price action. Like Akash network just broke out, and how I knew it was going to break out is like you're looking for like long sell vol. You'll see that the volume will be collapsing, but you'll be sideways in price action. So like if I look at this on like the daily, this thing was like, and also there was some fundamental reason behind this. I only like touched on it. Sorry, my charts are like, I guess I have like so many screens open today. I'm at my mother's house. I visit my mom like every couple of weeks. My dad recently passed, so she's living alone, and I'm in but so like I saw this tight, and I was like, okay, the moving averages are getting super tight. And the volume, so I saw the volume falling, right? So when you see falling price and falling volume, and I explain this to people, the car's driving down. Like if you look at price like a car's driving down, it's losing gasoline. How the hell can the car keep driving that way if it doesn't have any gas? So I explain to people that you're losing the sellers. There has to be a reversal. So whenever I have a 9-point checklist before I get into a trade, like I look for the VRVP and the point of control. I want to see us get really close to it. If we're about to get above that red line, I know a move is coming. Like I can almost be like 90 to 80% when I get and then the MACD will have a lack of momentum. It'll be very small compared to all the other hills. Like that's a big hill. That's a big hill. That hill is tiny. It's visually telling you that the sellers aren't there. And then you have the falling volume. And then you have the, and then I also put the RSI I love putting the RSI in patterns. And I see the RSI getting tight in a flag. And then the Stokes were low below the dotted line. I mean, that like it was like screaming to me that it was going to happen. And then it did. Now I saw it. I'll be honest. I did see it here first. And it took a while. Like I saw it right here first. And I started putting out the trade to the group. We eventually got like a 15% pop. And then when I looked at it again a day later, I realized I could redraw the structure and the trade was still valid. And then we got the bigger move, right? So yeah, I mean, moving averages are so deadly to me. And I don't use the EMAs like everyone else. I try to trade a little differently than the herd. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are market cipher in the EMAs. So I try to just do something a little more. And I find I trade more traditionally, like a guy from the early 2000s or the mid 2000s. You know what I mean? Like I try to just, and I see some of the best traders, man, they trade for years and then they're coming back to the same stuff. You know what I mean? And
there's a lot of guys I know that just trade levels.
The best traders in my group.
Trade levels.
I got a guy I want to spotlight, master friend, man. He's a leverage trader that I let teach classes. I only let one other person teach classes in my trading group. the guy teaches you how to use 200 leverage, but you use $1. It's crazy. He gets into the trade for $1, right? But gives you a 0 liquidation, right? And then as the trade goes down, you mitigate into it. And he's teaching students how to make 700% gains, but they start with $1 trade. I mean, you have to really know what you're doing, and we demo account it. But it's like, the point is, it's you can go any way you want. Like he said, to trading, you could trade long, you could trade short. It all depends on how you want to take it. Like, I'm not a huge leverage guy. Like, I'm still just dipping my toes into leverage. I met the gentleman, I forgot your first name, the gentleman, the second guest. And I'm sorry.
David.
David, yeah. I met David in person. Unbelievable guy. And I was asking him tips. I was like, what are you doing? You know, you're like the man. Like, he won the competition, you know? So I still have strengths and weaknesses to me, you know, that I'm learning as a trader every day.
And we're learning every day, right? I mean, none of us here think we know it all. I'm watching you. I'm in awe of what you're doing here. The MACDs, the MAs. I'm taking advice. I'm taking tips, and this is great stuff. You know, I've spent my trading career looking for things that work for me and taking bits and pieces from other traders. And this is such great advice to those out there. I know you can't see me at the moment. But, you know, take something out of this discussion from Sam. You know, these MAs are incredible. Use the fibs that you see on the Discord charts. Use the horizontals that we
I drew a fib here too, right? It came to the golden pocket. It just boggles my mind. Like, once you start seeing it, you'll see coincidences, and they're not coincidences. It's your you know, your selection of system just saying, hey, these are all aligning. Then you have to pull the trigger. There's years where I saw the stuff aligning and still didn't make the trade. Like, trading is so much more than that. So you can get the technicals down and then still have to find out, like, if you're ready to take the trade, you know?
So, you know, guys, before we wrap up and we have to go, and again, I appreciate your time. Sam, thank you so much. And Dave, thanks.
This was amazing.
You guys woke up early.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Just thoughts when we're closing now. Okay, I see BTC's breaking trend on the 15 minutes. Should we be excited? Are we longing this?
Well, Saturdays are always, there's no real volume. So it's for me personally, if we do see a pump this weekend, I'm looking to short the pump.
Thank you.
But altcoins specifically.
You know, again, we got to break back above 26,000 for me to even consider, you know, like, but it isn't an inverted head and shoulder. Like, that's a right shoulder technically. And my system has the lingering 200 SMA, which tells me get sucked up to it at one point. But again, I'm like, I wouldn't long until we could basically break or retest 26,000, or we make a flag somewhere, you know. But this looks like we're going to go to it right now. I mean, the 1 hour just doesn't have the momentum. I mean, it's very overbought. So the 1 hour doesn't look good to me, and we have resistance. Many times I've seen the smaller time frames pull what I call a Hail Mary. 1 hour overbought, 15-minute overbought, 4 hour overbought, 7 minutes oversold, and we get like a $400 move. And I've seen it, and they squeeze the heck out of the shorts. And the 7 minute has been. One day I was watching 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏. He used the 7 minute. It must have been 3 years ago. I added it to my chart, and I started using it randomly. And then I started using it every day, and like the 7 minute became like a #1 part of my strategy, you know.
So, guys, I'm not going to keep you any longer, and I see my face has disappeared once again. I really appreciate what you guys have done here. Thank you for joining me on literally my first show on the main channel. I'm so excited to be here.
Unbelievable.
And you know, it's up from here. We're gonna get things going, and I want to give the community setups and trades, and we're just gonna get this right, guys. You know what I mean? We're gonna do this together, and we're gonna cook.
I'm pretty critical, man. You guys are getting it right. You guys are getting it right. Like, you know,
teamwork makes the dream work.
You guys are putting in the work, so you know, we couldn't have had such a good time if I didn't put in the time and you guys didn't put in the time. And that's what's so fun about like having TA discussions. I know you guys have had thousands of hours, so there's that mutual respect of the time that we put in and the discipline that we've involved ourselves with.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I really appreciate that you came onto my show, guys. And for those of you, tomorrow I'm on again, 10 a.m. South Africa time. So it's too early for you guys. You're obviously welcome to join. If you want to wake up, it's probably the middle of the night for you. You are invited. 10 a.m. South Africa time, I've got MDX joining. So that's going to be fun. He's always a bit of a laugh. And I've got the Bombay Trillionaire as well joining us. So we're going to have some setups for you tomorrow, 10 a.m. SA time. If you two are around, please join. Obviously, you're always welcome here. Okay, thanks, guys. Awesome. And everybody, that's it from me. So we'll see you all tomorrow.